Our speaker this morning is Mr. Lehman. Mr. Lehman is the Meggs family head of school and is celebrating his 10th year at Hill. He is Hill's 11th head of school. Mr. and Mrs. Lehman live in Farrow House adjacent to the King Street gates and have 3 children. Mitch graduated from Hill in 2016 as now a professional rock climbing guide in the New River Gorge National Park in Fayetteville, West Virginia. Griff, a member of the Hill class of 2018, is a senior at Dartmouth College studying engineering and plays football for the Big Green. Their daughter Avery is a freshman at Bates College in Lewiston, Maine, where she plays lacrosse for the Bobcats. And most importantly, Mr. Lehman is the proud 4-year roommate of Reuben Lehman. Mr. Lehman.
As you all most certainly know, it's a long-standing tradition here at Hill to have the most loved or lovable faculty member on campus give a chapel talk when February 14th falls on a Monday or Friday. Unfortunately, Mrs. Nelson, Mr. Nelson, Dr. Marcano Agondo, Mr. Gettings, Reverend Adams, Mr. Ide, Mrs. Weisbach, Mr. Jeffries, Dr. Malone, Mr. Kierlason, Dr. Arison, Mr. McGriff, Ms. Fisher, the Science, Math, and Classics departments, several retired faculty members, and all 8 of the teaching interns were unavailable. So you got me. Truth be told, although the modern Valentine's Day is all about love and romance, its origins are quite dark. Apparently, there were several Saint Valentines who died on February 14th, with 2 of them being executed by the Roman emperor in 269 AD. And the day marked either their martyrdom, or perhaps a pagan ritual, until Geoffrey Chaucer, author of the Canterbury Tales, decreed the February feast of Saint Valentinus to the mating of birds, which was followed by a tradition of love notes being penned on that day by humans. The mass production and consumption of Valentine's Day cards, candies, flowers, and related traditions, which established Valentine's Day as the romantic holiday that we know today, did not really begin until the 1840s. Now, some 180 years later, Americans spend over $30 billion on Valentine's Day gifts each year, with the average person spending $196 on gifts today. While that may be hard to fathom, I am very grateful to all of you who sent me cards, flowers, chocolates. One person even sent $196 in Bitcoin. I've never felt so much love in my life. Regardless of the history of the holiday, most of us view Valentine's Day as a romantic holiday where we profess our love to somebody new, restate our love to our special somebody, or perhaps take your relationship to the next level with a romantic gesture or gift. For some of us, if you've been in love or in a relationship for a long time, it can often be just another day when you say, I love you. Saying I love you doesn't cost $196, but it's no small thing. As the unofficial 74th most lovable faculty member on campus, it may surprise you that I did not tell somebody I loved them until I was 16 years old. I was very close with my parents, but for whatever reason, we didn't say I love you in my house growing up, and still essentially don't use those words with each other, even though there is a clear abundance of love in our relationship. By contrast, Mrs. Lehman grew up in a family where saying I love you was an everyday thing. And when we first started dating, I must say I found it a little bit odd when she would end a phone conversation with her parents or one of her siblings that way. But it didn't take long for me to grow comfortable with the words. And by the time our first child was born, it was part of my daily practice with my family and still is today. If you aren't comfortable saying those words with your parents or siblings, I encourage you to give it a shot. You'll be surprised how much of a difference it makes, even when, or especially when, you're in the midst of difficult arguments or tough situations with your parents or siblings. It grounds you and it disarms them. Try it. Despite the over-the-top Valentine's Day messaging and global branding around romance, saying I love you also shouldn't be reserved for a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a spouse, partner, or other romantic interest. As I have grown older, and certainly throughout the pandemic, I have come to realize just how much I love my friends. Yes, I have some friends, just not in this zip code. My former teammates, my teachers and mentors, my dog, my colleagues at Hill and other places I've worked, my students and student athletes who I've taught and coached, the institutions of which I've been a part, my home in Maine, and my country, despite its many challenges. Over the weekend, as I drafted this chapel talk, I was flooded with powerful memories of the incredible support, care, and compassion that these people, pets, institutions, and places have provided to me over my life. Maybe we're not in love, but I certainly love them, and I think they love me back. Sometimes we just need to say it more often. So I'd like to ask you to take a moment, close your eyes. Think about somebody or something that you love and who loves you back, but not in a romantic way. Think about a memory that made you realize that your relationship transcended ordinary acquaintance or affection, and allow that to bring a smile to your face. Keeping your eyes closed, but picturing yourself in that relationship, in that transcendent moment, say, I love you. Say it out loud. You can say it, it's okay, say it out loud. Now, be sure to say it to them directly today, tomorrow, and every day. So what really is love? Is it an emotion? Is it a feeling? Is it a chemical reaction? Is it all of the above? Does it exist in your brain? Does it exist in your heart? Why is it typically attributed to the heart, a muscular organ that pumps blood throughout the body? And why do we draw hearts the way we do, since those drawn hearts look nothing like the organ itself? There are a range of answers and endless debate related to those questions. For me, I define love as when you care more about another person than you do about yourself. A loving relationship is not a 50-50 split between each person. It's 100-100, with each person in the relationship going above their proportional responsibilities to care for one another. As you grow your love for others, try thinking of your relationship in this way. Give more of yourself than you expect in return. Give your whole self in the spirit of that love. A number of years ago, I read a book that changed my life called Season of Life, A Football Star, a Boy, a Journey to Manhood. The book is about a retired professional football player named Joe Ehrman, who took over coaching a high school football team at the Gilman School in Baltimore, an all-boys school which I attended until the 8th grade and experienced as a very, very macho culture. Coach Ehrman started a tradition before each football game when he would ask his players, "What is our job as your coaches?" "To love us," the boys would respond in unison. "And what is your job?" Coach Ehrman would ask again. "To love each other," the boys responded. And then the boys would walk from their locker room and onto the field in pairs, holding hands. Joe Ehrman's football teams went on to be some of the best and most successful teams in the nation, dominating their opponents because the coaches and players cared deeply about each other. They cared more about each other's success than their own. It was a 100-100 relationship, and because of that, their collective effort grew exponentially. And that love transcended their success on the field. The players became built for others. So if you take only one thing away from this chapel talk, remember this: as your teachers, advisors, dorm parents, coaches, and yes, even your head of school, it is our job to love you. What is your job? To love each other. I hope you have a wonderful Valentine's Day. And on this Valentine's Day and future ones, be sure to say I love you more frequently and eat candy less frequently. Thank you.